Hi, my name is Becky Jennings, and this is the ResponseABLE Parenting Podcast. I give you the transformational tools to stop reacting to your children in the moment and start responding with intention.
Before we dive into the episode, I want to share my free guide to managing our kids' meltdowns. We know that meltdowns are normal, but they still suck and can be ridiculously triggering. This 4-step free guide will help you break the cycle of reactivity and help you get through the meltdown without snapping yourself. Don't join your kid in the tantrum. Grab my free guide and learn how to manage meltdowns like a pro. Head to responsablepparenting.ck.page/meltdown, or just go and click the link in my show notes and get your guide today. Okay, let's get to the episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of ResponseABLE Parenting. My name is Becky Jennings. Today, I'm going to talk about 4 things that we need to constantly be on the lookout as parents in order to gain more compliance with our children. So it's very easy for us to threaten, to use bribes, to maybe even use a reward chart. All of these different things are coercive measures to get our children to do something, to comply with maybe just coming to dinner at the right time, maybe going to bed or potty training or waking up and doing the morning routine. All of these can be kind of tactics to get our children to fall in line with our requests. But that can be a little bit tricky. And as they get older and more mature, these tactics are not going to work. So they might be nice little short-term band-aids, but in actuality, we need to create a stronger system, and we need to create a more solid foundation for our children to just understand how to do something, and the compliance will just flow so much better. So there's 4 buckets that I'd like to talk about. And number 1, when we are trying to get our children to do something, we got to look at like this scenario, right? If it's bedtime, if it's picky eating or mealtime, what is going on for the child? And I really want you to be aware of this one particular bucket, which is the power bucket. How much control has your child had that day? How many choices have they been able to make independently? How many options are they given? Have they been in control of anything throughout the day? Power is something that everybody feels inside, that desire to have control of the outcome, to have control over one single thing in your life, to feel out of control is really challenging. So it's important for us to look at what level of control or power have our children been able to exert today. And if it's, 0, or maybe even like they've had 2 choices, then we really need to give them a moment where they're in complete control, where they are testing out the power boundaries, where they're playing with the feelings of power. They need to be able to do this in the safe, contained environment that we create for them, but they have to be able to have these moments so that they are more compliant with our requests going forward. And you might think, like, giving my child power, how is that going to get them to do what I want? But the tricky thing here, and the key thing to take away from this, is that when they get to play with power, when they get to experience power, then when we're in a challenging situation, say bedtime or mealtime or getting to school on time, when we're in a higher stress situation, they've already played with the power dynamic. They don't need to assert themselves in that moment because they've already been able to get through that feeling and they've already been able to experience that. So how much power are you allowing your children to play with and experience throughout the day? That is a bucket that has to absolutely be filled every single day. The second bucket is how much attention and connection are your children receiving that is solely focused on them? No distractions, no phones, no interruptions. How much time are you genuinely giving your children where they get to call the shots in that time period. Again, this is a little bit of power too, but like, what's that 10 minutes of special time that you're doing with your children? Are you doing Legos together? Are you doing an art project? Are you playing with trucks or toys or dolls? Or what are you doing that gives them that full and complete attention? Because their caregivers are truly the people they're the only people they want to be seen and recognized by. I mean, just take, for example, a couple days ago at the park, I have one child on either end and both are like, Mommy, look at me. Mom, over here. Look, look, look. Did you see me? Did you see me? Did you see me? And that's all they want, is to be seen by us. Not, hey, I saw you. I got to go take care of your brother. No, they want us to just fully, genuinely watch them, be in awe by them, and be excited and in their world. So how much genuine connection time are you giving them? As we know, it takes a village to raise our children, but more and more, we are doing the entire job on our own. And that stops today. I have created a parent community app focused directly on giving you essential support tools. The ResponseABLE Parenting Community Group is available now. In this community, you will have more parenting strategies right at your fingertips. You'll have direct access to me and my coaching every month in our live Q&As, where you can bring your burning parenting questions and get my real-time support. I will host monthly exclusive workshops, facilitate weekly skill-building exercises, and more. This space is designed to meet you where you are at on your parenting journey. It's a judgment-free zone with parents and caregivers who are learning and growing right alongside of you. For less than $1 a day, you will have access to exclusive parenting content and coaching. I cannot wait to be a bigger part of your parenting journey. Head over to ResponseABLEParenting.com to join today. Enter promo code PODCAST to receive $10 off your first month. That's PODCAST for $10 off your first month. You can start out by doing 5 minutes every, 2 times a week. Maybe move that up to every other day. Then you can start doing 5 minutes a day, where they know it's a designated special time just for them, where you are giving them your complete, undivided, unconditional attention. You're not asking questions during that time. You are just letting them guide where they want to go, and they can explore all of that with you. It's a true gift. So making sure that bucket is consistently filled. So again, that power bucket, the connection and attention bucket. And then we really need to focus on the third bucket, which is our own regulation. And that really is something that we have to be aware of and listen to our bodies and really get in tune with what signals our body is sending us to alert us to danger or discomfort or threats or any of these things that we're going to react from. We're going to pop off from these external stimuli. So we need to be able to understand the cues that our body is sending us and then tap into a regulation practice, so that maybe we aren't jumping to 100% and we're bribing, threatening, screaming, doing all of that. Maybe we're jumping down a couple notches. Maybe we're at 95%. We can breathe a few more minutes to get through it. So really finding regulation practices. I always go to the breath, because the breath is such an integral way to calm our nervous system and to get us out of that really reactive state, focusing on long inhales through the nose, very long exhales through the mouth. If you can do a 4-count inhale, hold your breath for 4 counts and exhale for 8 counts. If you can do that 2 to 3 rounds, you are in a much better state with your nervous system and way less reactive. Even just with those 2 simple breaths, it's going to help you in that moment so that you're not losing your cool moment to moment to moment to moment. We're helping our nervous system grow. We're really practicing these regulation techniques so that we just expand our window of tolerance. The more we can hold, the more capacity that we have is in direct correlation to how strong our nervous system is and how much we practice these on a regular basis. So really tuning into our bodies and noticing what is going on around us that causes us to be more reactive, what in the moment was that main trigger thing. So going back and kind of looking at that trigger and then finding the tool that works for you to ground yourself in the moment, to just be to allow what's happening around you without feeling that you need to be reacting to it or responding to it immediately. How much buffer can we give from the moment it happened to our actual response? That is going to give us so much more time to let our logic brain catch up to our emotional brain, and it's going to allow us to stay in connection without being so reactive. And then the last is to really focus on play as the teacher. Play is going to be your foundation of how you're getting your child to move, how you're getting your child to take action. So my younger son, was just having a heck of a time going to sleep. He'd come out like 10, 15, 20 times, and it was just really exhausting. And I was really trying not to fall back into old patterns of coercion or bribing or getting really frustrated that we've done all these things and nothing's working. So, what I ultimately tried to do is walk through these buckets, and I gave him power over a little light. So, I got a little rechargeable light. It dims and it can brighten, and he has total control over this tiny little disc light. And for the first couple days, he kind of didn't know that he had that full power. So he was still coming in and out. But now he completely owns the fact that he can control the light in his bed, and he feels so powerful in that. It's his light. He gets to control it, whether it's on or off. It's completely up to him. And that cut him coming out of bed at least in half. Then we started spending some additional time outside of bedtime in connection, in play, where it was just solely him and me in that moment. I was giving him my full undivided attention in a game or playing with trucks or building Legos, whatever it was, he got to dictate it. And we were spending so much more time together that when we were separating at night, it wasn't so scary for him because I had filled up that bucket throughout the day. And then regulating myself during those moments when I start to feel like I'm getting activated and triggered by the fact that it's taking longer than I want, I spend time in his bed modeling that emotional regulation. So I spend a decent amount of time breathing and regulating my own nervous system. And I find the more that I do that in that bedtime scenario, my son starts to model the breath that I'm actually doing as well. So he'll start to do the 4 count inhale, the 4 count hold your breath, and the 8 count exhale as well. And he'll start to model that and even tell me, Mommy, I think we need to breathe before we go to bed. And then the other thing is in that separation period, I've been adding a game right at the very end when I'm leaving so that he not only feels in control of the game, but it lightens his spirit enough that he's focused more on the fun of it versus the fear of me leaving the room. So what I've been doing is two things. I've been either pretending that I have to go to the bathroom really bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom so bad. I'm like, you tell me to go. Tell me in the silliest way to leave the room and go to the bathroom. And he'll, make a silly face and be like, get out of here. Go to the bathroom, Mommy. And he feels powerful and he feels silly and it feels funny. And so I'll be like, okay. And I'll kind of like cross my legs and run out of the room. And that's been something that's been really effective. Or the other one I came up with was beating me to sleep. So I was like, oh man, I'm so tired. I wonder who's going to fall asleep first. Ooh, I wonder if we can make this a game. Could you fall asleep first? Or should I? No, I'm going to go run to my room. I'm going to lay down in my bed and I'm going to fall asleep first. No, mommy, I want to win. I want to win. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come back in and check to see if you won the game. And he'll be like, get out of here. I got to go to sleep so that I can win the game. So how can we take these stressful moments of bedtime, of mealtime, and wrap it up in a game? The more we can introduce play, the more enjoyable it is for not only our system, but for our children. And it is just so much more effective than threatening, bribing, yelling, coercion techniques. So yes, those are the 4 main buckets that we need to focus on a regular basis. How much power does your child have throughout the day? Are you giving them opportunities to play with those power dynamics and really feel what it feels like to be in charge, make decisions, make choices? That is so fun for kids. And I'm telling you, the more you can do it in off times, practice times, like not in the moment of high stress, the more effective you will be in those pockets of high stress transition times. Making sure that we are giving them that connection and attention that is so vital, not just for compliance and getting them to do the things that we're requesting later, but to just feel so securely attached to you. It helps so much when a fight does happen between you. You have that connection to fall back on. So those pockets of time that you can devote to each individual child is just such a fulfilling moment for both of you. Staying regulated in these high stress situations, giving yourself the gift of falling onto that tool of regulation and breath support, making sure that you're really just focused on letting your logic brain catch up to that emotional brain. And by taking enough breaths to calm your body down so that your brain has time to catch up. And then how can you wrap the goal, your desire, up in a game, in play, so that your child feels more connected to the outcome and is more excited to do it at the same time. That is today's episode, the 4 buckets you need to focus on. I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for listening to the ResponseABLE Parenting Podcast. If you like what you heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. If you know someone who would benefit from this podcast, I'd be honored if you'd share this episode with them. Until next time, know that you are enough, you are capable, you've made it through all of your hardest days, and we will keep growing on this parenting journey together. This podcast was produced by Kim Kelty and myself, Becky Jennings, and edited by the Kelty Method, Branding and Podcasting.